Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Keith Cook, and this is my new video podcast, Connections with Mark Keith. And I'm so happy to announce my first guest, my inaugural guest, my good friend, Keidra Phillips-Burrell. She's running for State Senate, District 27 here in Arkansas, which covers parts of Calhoun, Jefferson, Union, and Ouachita County. But enough of me talking. I want to give Keidra an opportunity to introduce herself to you all. So Keidra, uh, I know normally in these type of interviews, we always want to ask the person what they're running for, but I want to do something a little different. I want you to tell us who you are and what you stand for. And in turn, I think we can probably figure out exactly why you're running. So please give us all a real light introduction of yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Well, I am a community activist at heart. I've always been a person to get involved in our community. And my husband and I moved to Pine Bluff about 6 years ago, and we decided and made a conscious decision to move to the community that we will be working in, instead of live outside of the community and expect the community to support us. So we decided to sow into Pine Bluff, and God blessed us because this was the best choice we could have ever made. We love Pine Bluff, and we love it here, and we love Arkansas. And, I became the chief of staff for the city of Pine Bluff, and I worked with Mayor Washington as her assistant. And, I saw some of the lack of representation that our district had on a state level, just interacting with the governor and just seeing some of the things that weren't being translated on a state level. And so I felt like it's time for our voices to be heard. It's time for District 27 to have a seat at the table, and the values of District 27 to be accurately portrayed on a state level. And so that's what that was the impetus for me to run for this position. I'm an attorney by trade. I'm an environmental attorney. That's what I typically practice. And I'm a small business owner, and I see all the issues that we have, but I know and can see the potential for progress in our district. And so I know there's change that can happen. I can feel that there's change that's going to happen. And we just need to make sure that we're all being represented, and all of our voices are being heard, because we all matter.
That's right. I couldn't agree more. I think that was an excellent opening statement, as always. And like I said, I'm definitely going to be partial in this interview because you are such a good friend. But for those that don't know you, I want to ask as if I don't know you.
Okay.
So what are some of the qualities and skill sets you think you have that'll make you a really good state senator?
Well, I think first of all, I'm an attorney. And so that gives me the ability to be able to translate and interpret legislation. But it also gives me the ability to think outside of the box and be able to think of ways in which we can have practical application of the legislation, because I'm not just a law student that graduated with JD, but I'm an actual practicing attorney licensed in 3 states.
Right.
So I've worked in the law. So I know how laws are passed and applied, and they don't have practical application. So it's important to have that well-rounded view of how things will translate in our community. I think also I have a heart for the community, and that's important. That's important for you to understand what the people really need and what the people are really having issues with. And that's something that I desire to have. I'm not about a title. I take self out of it, and I know that this is not about me. This is about a higher purpose and a desire to serve, because that's what the Lord means for us, is for us to serve one another. And so I plan to go to the legislature with that in mind, and that open service heart, because I'm a servant leader.
Hey, I love that. That servant leader, that's something we try to live by here in South Arkansas too. So we're already on the same page with that, definitely. So, and that's a good segue into my next question. I think everyone that gets into public office, most people has an agenda, which I think they should, or something that you're passionate about. So if you could only pick one issue, your baby, the thing that gets you up every morning saying, I got to go to work, what is that one issue?
Issues that affect our children. because that's the future of our community and that's the future of our state. So if we deprive them of the things that they need to flourish, then how can we expect to have a good 2021, 2022, and therefore, and thereon? So issues that affect our children. So healthcare and access to healthcare, education and quality education. And down here in District 27, broadband is a really big issue, that we have. With the impact of COVID, our children are struggling to be able to figure out how to educate themselves. The question is, do they go back to school? Do they stay home? Well, each decision comes with a whole quandary of other issues to keep concerned with. Like, if I stay home, do I have access to a computer? Do I have access to Wi-Fi? Is my Wi-Fi reliable? All of those are things that are important. And if I don't understand and I don't have access to a teacher, is my parent capable of assisting me? And all of these are all things that have to be considered. And so those are some, when I think about the community, the first thing I think about, the thing that wakes me up, the thing that says, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to try and be the voice for our district, is the children.
Right, that's excellent. Hey, Whitney Houston said it best: the children are our future, right?
Yeah.
Lead the way. Look, as someone that's a parent of 3, I have one that's starting kindergarten this year, and I have one that just graduated college. So, and one in the middle. And actually, her birthday is today. So,
Happy birthday, baby.
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely pass that along to her. So, obviously have a passion for kids too. I've done a lot of work, so I definitely appreciate your dedication. And I know earlier you said you were a small business owner. You also run a children's academy, right?
Yeah, I own 2 preschools. One here in Pine Bluff and one in New Orleans, and I opened them both with the premise of offering a private level education at an affordable rate, because I saw that, for parents that desire to have that private education of their children, they could not afford the preschools. And many times, our preschools, they have different variations of things that we offer. And sometimes a private preschool can offer some things that, that are different. And so it's not fair that parents don't have access to that. So we have to figure out a way to give access. So my partner and I, we decided that we're gonna, open these preschools, but not for profit. We're gonna take the dollars that we make and sow it back into the school to make sure the children get the top level education that they need.
Man, that's excellent. That's excellent. And I know you said you were from New Orleans, which is, I know, if I'm correct, that's a predominantly African-American city, right?
It's tough to say New Orleans. We're a good gumbo pot mix.
Right. I know it's a pretty heavy African-American population. I know also in Pine Bluff. And the reason I ask, I know you being an African-American woman growing up in the South, and with everything that's going on in the world right now around the Black Lives Matter movement and policing and all that, I know I would personally like to get your thoughts and where you are on that, and I'm sure a lot of the people that's going to be viewing would like to know, where exactly do you stand? How are you seeing all these situations unfold? What's your perspective?
I support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I think that there has just been a misunderstanding of the movement. There's been a misunderstanding of what people mean when they say Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is not a movement that says my life matters any more than any other ethnicity. It says it matters the same. We are equal. So we're not trying to say that other lives don't matter. We're saying that Black lives do matter as well. And they need to be taken into consideration, even when dealing with things like, calculating your BMI or medical research. Ethnicity is a factor, and it should be considered. And so diseases and issues that affect African Americans should be researched and cared about just as much as any other. And so, when we think about police brutality and we think about other issues that affect specifically minority communities, those issues should be brought to the forefront as well. They should not just be dismissed. And that's why we're saying Black Lives Matter. It is saying that we matter, not we matter more than anyone else, but we matter. And so we should be equal. It's not demoting one for the other, because we can all be considered and concerned for.
Definitely. So have you had the opportunity to participate in one of the peaceful protests that you guys had in Pine Bluff or anywhere else in your
Yeah.
district?
I was able to do that locally, you know, since COVID has affected us so greatly and affected I'm a small business owner. And so COVID has really affected my business. And so I have been able to be around the district as much as I would like, specifically because I also have young children and you don't want to, you know, got to be careful. But I have been able to participate here locally, and I'm so, so proud of how we're coming together peacefully to protest. We're coming together to have our voices heard. Our voices are being heard. Changes are being made. Our police chief has put in some different changes, and he had a forum I actually spoke at a few weeks ago that, you know, talked about some of the changes, some of the banning of the chokehold and different types of things that, you know, our police chief is working on. And I know this is happening around the district and around the world. And it's specifically because the Black Lives Matter movement is saying that we matter. And so this is why people are considering African Americans. They're considering us in their decisions. And that's what we need. We need consideration. We need to be at the table. And that's why representation in government is so important, because we need to be at the table to be able to say, hey, listen, what about us? What about our needs?
Well said. And I guess that's another good segue into my next question. Not only are you African American, you're also a woman, and I know that brings its own set of challenges. So as an African American woman here in the South, can you tell me about some of the challenges, you know, you faced here in America, some of the roadblocks that you have to overcome? Because obviously anyone that knows you have been blessed and you're a very successful person, but I'm sure you've had some roadblocks. Can you kind of give us some things you may have, you know, been able to overcome to put you in the position you are now?
Well, you know, what I've always believed is that I will not be given more than I can bear. So I continue to push through those barriers. But of course, myself, as many other African American professionals, we are many times the only one at the board table. We're the only one in the room, and sometimes that is advantageous, and other times that is a problem, because it's as though we're invisible, because our opinion is not quite as valued. But I will say that it has done nothing but make me be stronger in my conviction that I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm saying. It motivated me to be not just educated, but more educated, right? To continue to push, to know more, to do more. But I will say that it is tough because we shouldn't have to do that, right? It should be an equal playing field. It should be, and I'm not saying in all instances it's not. In many times it is, but sometimes it's not. You know, and another thing that, you know, a woman will deal with more than a man, black or white, is being a mother. Right. So I'm a mother, and I'm a female, and I'm African American, right? And so being a mother, I have to make sure that I am putting my children first, but also remaining career driven, and also, you know, staying focused on what's important. And for me, raising Black sons, I want to make sure that they are adequately represented. I want to make sure that fear of them because of their skin color becomes obsolete. Right. It's not fair, it's not warranted, and it's just ridiculous, frankly. So I want to make sure that they understand that mommy is there for them, and mommy is doing her best for them. And I'm going to go to Little Rock and fight for them, and fight for all of our minority children and all of our children of all ethnicities, to make sure that they have the adequate access to everything that they deserve. Because we're not just dealing with a race issue, we're also dealing with a socioeconomic discrimination issue, or we're dealing with a demographic issue. You know, these are all things that our children are dealing with in District 27.
That's right, and I know the people of District 27, we definitely want a fighter, so it's good to know that we know you'll go out and fight for us. But I know here locally, we've been engaged in a pretty big fight here over the last month here in Union County over a Confederate statue on public ground at the courthouse. So obviously we've had several rallies and peaceful protests surrounding that. And just recently, our quorum court voted to put it on the ballot to let the citizens vote and decide if they want the statue up or not. So I know that's gonna probably bring a extra added excitement to the race and to get a lot more people motivated. So with all that being said, what is your where is your stance on Confederate monuments being removed in public areas? Do you agree with that? Do you think that should happen, or are you of the mindset of, hey, it's been there, it's history, let it stay?
I believe that anything that is a symbol of hate and racism in our community needs to be gone. If it's a part of our history, put it in a museum. But it does not need to be representing our cities and our counties when people come into our district and see these things, because what it does is it brings an image of divisiveness, and we need to unify. So if I'm an African American, for example, I can remember, going distinctly. I went to at that time, I was singing in a choir from my all girls private school in New Orleans, and I was the only African American member of my class at the time. And I recall going to sing at a private members only club. And I remember walking into the club, and there was an issue with me entering into the front door because I was African American, but I was with a group of all Caucasian singers. And then I saw a Confederate flag hanging in front of me. And my father had taught me what that was. Whether that was a good club or a bad club, I instantly believed it was a racist environment. It clearly was racist because they didn't want me to enter the front door, but that was even more of a symbol of that racism in my face. Do we want that type of racism and that type of hate to be a symbol for visitors as they come to our city? As we have a current sitting legislator that wants to take teaching about slavery out of our books, why should we have this symbol sitting in front of us, a reminder of slavery? It should be gone. It doesn't need to be there. It doesn't need to be, they should not be idolized in that way. They do not deserve a statue.
Well put. I mean, I echo what you say 110%. I agree. If you want to preserve your history, put it in a museum or put it in your backyard. That's my stance on it. I don't think my tax dollars should go to the maintenance or the cleaning or anything
Absolutely
of that. So yeah, that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, we have no light between us on that, and I appreciate your view. I got a couple more questions, but the next question is definitely probably the hottest thing going on in the country, of course, the COVID-19 epidemic, or pandemic rather. So how are you and your family handling the pandemic? I guess from the start of it till now, has it changed your outlook on anything as far as, hey, I'm Keidra running in February, this is how I'm looking at things, compared to, hey, I'm running in August, and this is how I see it now. Did anything change? And also, do you think the state of Arkansas, which you are running to be a part of that legislative body, do you think they handled the COVID-19 pandemic correctly here?
Well, first, I as far as my family's concerned, we're doing the best that we can. My husband's a physician. He's in the hospital every day. And so, he's taking the precautions that he has to take. And we've been blessed to not have exposure, and that's awesome. Dr. Amy Cahill is the chief of medicine at JRMC, and she was the one that was the person that you would have seen on the news that originally spoke about the patient zero here in Pine Bluff. We had the first case in Pine Bluff. The first case in Arkansas was in Pine Bluff at JRMC. So we've been doing well. We've been, being smart about things and staying socially distant. I definitely have played outside with my kids more than I ever have in my life, trying to keep them entertained. But we've done the best that we can. I think that Governor Hutchinson did the best that he could with the information that he had. I think many times that, when you're armed with information, you act on it. I can't say that our federal leadership did that, but I feel that Governor Hutchinson did the best he could. We are trying as a community, Mayor Washington here, I know Mayor Creer, Mayor Lott, they are trying to do the best that they can. There is a resistance to wearing masks, and for the life of me, I can't understand it. We have been told more than one time that this helps prevent. And even if it only, and I'm not saying it does, but even if it were to only help prevent 10, 12%, it's 10, 12%. Like, this is a virus that's killing people daily, and we're seeing it. And why not wear a mask? It dumbfounds me. I don't understand. So I am glad that, many of our mayors and our county judges and our governor are mandating masks, because this is what needs to happen. Our physicians, our medical people that are trained in this are saying, wear the mask. I'm a lawyer, so I'm not going to tell the doctor, you don't know what you're doing, just like the doctor's not going to tell me how to find a jury, how to voir dire. Like, we stay in our lane. And my physician husband and my physician friends and the physician on TV is telling us to wear the mask. So just wear the mask.
Hey, it seems like it should be that easy, right? But
to me, it
right.
should be so simple. And and then you second guess when someone has passed away, and then you say, oh, I should have wore the mask. Wear the mask.
I'm like you. If I got Dr. Fauci here telling me what to do and Donald Trump here, I'm probably going to listen to Dr. Fauci.
I'm going to listen to Dr. Fauci, specifically because Dr. Fauci was on President Trump's team initially, telling us and educating us about this virus. So I'm going to continue to listen to Dr. Fauci.
Right. Well, it makes no sense to have experts if we're not going to listen to them, right?
Agreed. And so I'm listening to the experts, and our local experts are telling us, Dr. Amy Cahill is telling us, wear the mask in public, wash your hands 20 seconds. My children at my preschool, they're there. We sanitize, we disinfect as much as we can. All of our staff wear masks. We try to do the best that we can. Now, do we slip? Everyone does. But, we just have to do the best we can as good members of our community to keep each other safe.
I totally agree. So, last question.
I'm ready.
Tell us something you want us to know about you. I know you kind of touched on several things, but give me one thing that you haven't touched on, or something that maybe you touched on that you want to expound on more, so we know exactly who we're going to be getting as our state senator.
Well, I will tell you that I am who I am. I'm not a politician. Everyone that knows me knows that, I'm just a real person. I speak my truth. I always speak my truth because I don't live my life with regrets. And I would regret not speaking my truth. So I will authentically represent this district as my authentic self, doing what I know is best. My family lives here. My mother left Houston to move to Pine Bluff because we touted Pine Bluff so much that she loved it and moved here several years ago. I love this community, but I don't only love this community. I feel like I'm blessed to have this community. And because I feel so blessed to have this community, I want to represent this community and the blessings that have been bestowed upon me by it. So I know that I can do this. I'm ready to fight for District 27. I'm ready to bring change. And I know that we can make a difference because we all matter. All of our voices matter, and all of our votes matter. So vote in 2020.
That's it. That got me excited. And I'm glad you used that word vote, because it's very, very, very important this year that we go vote. Now, obviously, I have my preference all the way from the top of the ticket to the bottom of the ticket, but I am never here to tell anyone who they should vote for, who they shouldn't. If you ask me, I'll give you my opinion, but the most important thing is to vote. We have so many critical issues to vote on this year. From president, which we know is vital. We have to get out and select the right president going forward, because I don't think this country can take 4 more years of what we've been going through. All the way over to our state positions, we got some really good, strong congressional races going. We got marijuana legalization from a recreational standpoint going. I know here locally we have this big issue with the Confederate statue. And there are several other big issues, and I'm going to be having some other guests that's going to be discussing some of those issues. So I'm not going to just give away everything right now, but we have so many just very important issues that it's so important that either you get out and vote. If you voted before, you should already be okay. But don't think if you voted 4 years ago or 6 years ago that you're automatically on the roll. Arkansas will drop you off the roll. If you have any questions, you can contact myself or several other people, or you can go to voterview.com and you can look yourself up, and it'll tell you if you're a current voter, what district you vote for. It gives you all the information that you would need to vote. Also, we're going to be having several voter registration events here in South Arkansas. Yes. I'm sure you'll have some up in Jefferson County as well. So as we get those things on the calendar, we will be sending out information to invite people out. So definitely be looking for those. And also, I definitely want to give a big shout. Well, not a shout out, but I want to definitely say I want to announce that I lost a very close aunt the other day. And I would feel remiss if I didn't recognize her. My Aunt Charlotte Reed Cole, she was very special to me. She was very special to our family. And, you know, if anybody looking at that, keep our family in your prayers. And so anyway, just kind of broke up on that. We were very close. But anyway, Keidra, I definitely want to thank you for taking our time with us this evening.
Thank you so much. And hey, listen, Marquise, I do want to make sure that we plug the absentee voting. That is a really big thing that we're going to be able to do. And so if you're fearful to vote, and if you're fearful to head on out to the polls, please, oh, sorry, those are my dogs. Please, you know, go ahead and research and get your absentee ballot from your county clerk. That way you can get ahead of it. If you think you might have to work on the day on November 3rd, or you think you might have anything that could come up, go ahead and absentee vote, get it out of the way. It's available to you. Do it, and that way you're done, and you have been able to cast your vote, because it is so important that every vote is heard, and it is so important that we do not get distracted by everything else that's going on, and that we vote.
And to segue on the absentee ballots, back several elections ago, you used to get unlimited absentee ballots and help others that needed it. But now I know here locally, we're only limited to two per person. So you could absentee for yourself and also 2 other people. Not only that, and Keidra, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're looking to pass to where we can do mail-in ballots as well, correct? Do you know where we are in their
Yes, so I believe that is what Senator Elliott has been working on. If it may have passed, or I'm not sure, but I know that's something that they have definitely been working on to get that absentee mail-in ballot. I believe that may have passed already now. I will Google it and put that on my page.
Right. But to anyone that's listening, do your own research.
Yes.
And if it hasn't passed, find out who your state representative is or your current state senator, and make sure you call them and tell them that you want more access to vote, which means mail-in balloting and whatever else they can get. We need longer wait times. We need polling locations. We need opportunities for everyone to vote. So go vote like your life depended on it.
Yes.
So Keidra, do you have anything else?
No, Marquise, I just thank you so much for doing this. And I thank you for, bringing light to some political issues that are important in our community. I know that we can do better, and I know we're going to all work together to continue to move Arkansas forward. I appreciate your help in this way.
Definitely. Hey, and I almost forgot. How can they get in contact with you? Do you have an office cell phone or office number or website?
I do. So you can reach out to me via Facebook at Burrell for Senate, or you can reach out to me via my cell phone number. It's 870-510-3125. Or you can email me at burrellforsenate27@gmail.com.
Do you have a Facebook page or Instagram page or any other social media?
My Facebook page is Keidra Burrell or Burrell for Senate. And then my Twitter is the same, and so is my Instagram.
Good deal, Keidra. Well, man, I want to thank you for, like I said again, for being my first guest. I'm new to this, so I'm trying to get everything.
You did a great job.
Hey, look, I had a great guest, so you made it very easy. So once again, people, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I can guarantee you Keidra has my vote, and If you ask me, that's who I'm going to tell you to vote for in District 27 State Senate 2020, November the 3rd.
Thank you.
So with that being said, you all have a great evening, day, night, whatever time you're watching this, and be on the lookout for my next guest. Thank you so much.